Hey guys, Bubba here. Today I'm going to do a small little bit of cooking demonstration of what we carnivores eat on the road. Of course, carnivore is a meat-based diet, so we have to. Our choices are actually pretty limited, especially if you're in a situation like I am. You're in a van, and if you're out there boondocking, the only thing you can rely on is either butane stove for frying, or in this case, I have an item called a Hotlogic. It's like a kind of acts like a pot. What do you call it? A crock pot. And here, let me show you what it is. Okay, so what we have it's just a it's this insulated bag, if you will, and turn it down just a little bit more. And inside there is a hot plate. This plate it gets up to about 165, 170 degrees, and it stays there. And when you zip up the insulated case, it retains the heat. So it just sits there. There's no controls or anything. It's just a constant temperature. And what we're going to do today is get a pot roast, and we're going to cook it for about 4 hours. Now, normally, what I would do is before I started a trip in the morning, I would go ahead and plug this in. This device has a cigarette lighter. They do make one that has AC, but this is specifically for designed to be on the road. So uh, anyway, we got that plugged in, and yeah, and what I would do is before I start my trip, put in the meat, whatever you're cooking. In this case, we're going to cook a chuck roast. Got them on sale at Kroger, $4.95 a pound. What a deal! Anyway, um, we're going to put it in here. We're going to salt it, and we're going to cook it for 4 hours. After about 2 hours, I'm going to put a half a stick of butter in there, and an hour before it's finished, I'm just going to turn it over to make sure the butter gets on both sides of it. But yeah, it's a very good meal. Each of those chuck roasts is about 3 pounds. So the one I have, half a pound, it's like a pound and a half of a chuck roast. And that's usually more than enough for one meal. I usually eat OMAD, one meal a day, sometimes two. Get some eggs or something if I feel a little extra hungry. But yeah, so let's go ahead and start preparing this thing. First thing we're going to do is get our chuck roast. And here we have half our chuck roast. Basically, stick it in there. I'd already washed it inside, but anyway. Oh, look at how nice and juicy and fat that is. Okay, so that's in there. Now we're going to take some Redmond salt and salt liberally on both sides. And I'm not going to put any water or anything. This thing will just generate some juice and put the butter in there. It'll make a nice buttery broth. Okay, so, and that's basically it. We put the cover on here. This is a Pyrex dish. You can put anything inside this. You can put in any plastic, anything with a flat bottom. It won't burn anything. I've even put baggies in here, just to warm stuff up real quick. But anyway, so we got our Pyrex. And so we stick it in here. I can feel the heat already being generated since I had it plugged in for a few seconds. Then make sure that you actually zip up the unit, and that's it. If you're traveling, make sure it's secure so it doesn't go flying somewhere. But right now, let me check the time. Okay, 12:40, and another 2 hours. I'm going to come in here and put in half a stick of butter, see how it's doing, and then an hour before it's done, I'm just going to flip it, make sure the butter gets on both sides. Butter makes it taste really good. And that's it. I mean, it's a nice thing about cooking carnivore. It's so simple. You're just cooking meat. Other things I usually cook are meatloaf, hamburgers, eggs and hamburgers. I've got a nice little hamburger appliance. I'll show you next time, next Thursday maybe. I'm going to try to make this a regular Thursday event. Just show the things that I'm going to be eating as I go forward. It's starting to get warm again. It's a beautiful day today, and I'm hoping that pretty soon we go out camping again. February's coming up. The Carnivore, the HOWA, the Home on Wheels Alliance, they're starting their February caravans, and they're going to list the location, and you can go up there for 2 weeks, meet a bunch of people, and just basically live on BLM land, which is Bureau of Land Management. It doesn't cost anything, but there's no amenities, no bathrooms, no water, no nothing. You got to be self-sufficient. You got to have solar. You got to have a solar generator. And that's another thing. I was going to check to see how much power this thing took. I have a really nice app, and it looks like it's taking about 43 watts. Okay, so right now I'm at 81%, and by the time I'm done, I'm going to see how much actual power it takes. You want to do this during the early part of the day when your solar is at its peak, and get a chance to recharge your batteries. What I usually do is I have small little power banks, and I charge them up during the day when the sun's strong, and then I use them at night just to power my phone, individual devices, and everything. It just seems to work the best. Um, I do have a DC to DC charger, but if you're camping, you're not moving. You're sitting in one spot. So the goal is to get as much sun as possible, and use your electronic devices like this. I mean, if I'm using butane gas, that's no problem. But whenever you're using this, I mean, trying to bring an air fryer on a road trip, it takes 1,800 watts. This takes 43. Can you imagine 1,800 watts? Um, sure, it might only take 10 minutes to make that steak, but probably deplete half my battery. And if you've got a big RV or something like that, then it doesn't matter because you probably have shore power, your or generator. And but when you're a small guy and only have your battery to depend on and solar, you got to be conservative. And even though I can plug in the shore power if I want to, but then you got to pay for it. If you're a cheap bastard like me, then you're trying to live off the land and live off solar, which is free. And anyway, that's the plan. So I'll check back with you guys in 2 hours, and we'll see how this looks. We'll put in a half stick of butter, and then after that, we'll come back and we'll flip it. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, guys, it's been 2 hours. This thing's been cooking. And as far as how much power it's taken, let me take a quick look at my app. And see, we started at 81% and we're down to 77%. Now, I've unplugged my solar, so it's not being replenished, but I want to get a true idea of how much power is being used by this thing. So, in 2 hours, we went, let's see, 3-4% maybe. We still got 2 more hours, so let's go ahead and put the butter on. Hang on a second here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And let's take a quick look and see how this thing looks so far. Ooh, it's nice and hot. Ooh. Okay, it's getting still pink. Let me get a close up here. It's yeah. Okay, so we're still cooking. Still got a couple more hours, but we're going to go ahead and add half a stick of butter. It's going to make this taste very delicious. So let's go. Yeah, just let that sucker get in there. And another hour from now, I'll come over here, flip it so we get all that butter in the bottom as well. But yeah, it's cooking. It just takes time. And we'll see what kind of progress we got when we come back here. So let me go ahead and stop you guys, or stop the video. And yeah, Be back in a little bit. Hey guys. Okay, it's been it's been about 4.5 hours. Let's take a look and see what our pot roast looks like. Okay, so let me pop open the top. Oh, will you look at that? Oh, that looks delicious. I'm gonna go ahead and slice them open. And yeah, I gave it a little more than 4 hours. Gave it about 4.5. And right now, I am going to dig in and try some of this wonderful looking meat. Oops. Oh, oh, look at that. Oh, does that look good or what? Oh. Okay, guys. Anyway, this was just a initial, what does a carnivore eat and how to cook on the road, and the Hotlogic. This is my slow cooker. And anyway, thanks for coming along. And next Thursday, we'll have some other goodie that we can cook quickly and easily inside our van. Take care.